Hello and welcome to the Aid Station. I'm Chris Robb, and today delighted for the third time on the Aid Station to be heading to Brazil. And today we head to beautiful Rio de Janeiro, where we meet Roberta Hernandez, who's a project manager with California, not the state of California, but the digital marketing agency California. Wonderful to see you, Roberta. How are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm very glad to be here and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And we were just making the kind of 3 degrees of separation, or 1 degree of separation, as it turns out, with my two former Brazilian guests. We were talking earlier on about Pedro, and you've literally just finished working for 6 years with Pedro to start a new role that we're going to hear about. And then wonderful man Daniel from Ticket Agora, who was also one of my guests recently. So yeah, wonderful to see that connection. Our industry is very small wherever we are over the world, albeit that we serve millions of people. Tell us a little bit about your background and your journey, starting off with Pedro at Effect Sports.
I was born and raised in Rio, and my family comes from sports. My parents were both volleyball players, and I have two brothers that all also plays, and one plays professional in Europe. And so sports was always in my veins, and I couldn't imagine working with another thing outside sports. And I graduated in publicity, so I was looking for a job, and my mom worked with Pedro. So made this connection, and it was love for first sign. Effect Sports is a perfect environment, a perfect company for the ones that love sports. And working for them, I learned so much. It was my very first job, and I was there for 6 years. So I had I learned a lot. I failed a lot, but was very happy for 6 years. And it was so hard to finish this relationship and head into another, but it was the time. And maybe in the future, who knows, I'll be back.
Wonderful. And you've got another great part of your story. You played water polo at a high level. You talk about sport and being in the veins of everyone in the family. And you said you went and played in Las Vegas for a while. Tell us a little bit about your sport background, your professional sport background, Roberta.
Yeah, sports was always in my family, so we had to do something, and we loved it. So we tried many sports, and my dream was to be an athlete. I tried some sports, but what it was with water polo that I had the chance to be like real athlete and live for that. So I practiced 6 times a week. I went to some national teams. I was South American champion, went to Pan Am's World Games, and I had the opportunity to do an no, sorry, to travel and stay in Las Vegas to play for Team Vegas. And I had the opportunity to coach and play, and it was very, very fun. But unfortunately, I had to quit. And now I play for fun, but it was time to go to professional and earn some money because in Brazil, it's hard to be an athlete.
Yeah, right. Like it is, I guess, in a lot of countries, it's a lot of commitment, and it's
Right.
not always the life that it's cracked up to be in terms of the financial challenges that come with it. So then, you swimming very much in your blood. Effect Sports putting on the King and Queen of the Ocean, and we'll talk about that a little bit in terms of the last event that was delivered there. But you've now had this opportunity to move into a new role, literally that you started a week ago. I'm interested to hear about current situation, new job coming. What's life like in Rio and Brazil generally at the moment? People all over the world through the aid station always keen to say, well, what's happening in our industry around the world? What's happening in countries around the globe in terms of COVID? Give us a little bit of an update and an insight, please.
In Brazil, it's very hard because we are expecting a third wave, but in my opinion, we never stopped the wave. We are having so much deaths. Uh, we have more deaths now than 1 year ago. So when the COVID started, but people have to, the government doesn't help us and all the workers. So they are like in this situation. I have to stay home because it's the best place to be, but I have bills to pay. So how are we gonna do that? We have to be creative and to find a new way of living, but it's very hard because some people here in Brazil, they earn money with in the stores, and we if you don't have a background that you can do some digital, you can't earn money. And how you pay bills in this, our government was giving like 300 reais, that is like literally nothing. You go to the supermarket and you spend that easily. And how are you supposed to raise a family with kids and all that? It's almost impossible. So we had to be creative and start new things, new ways of earning money. And it was that was very hard for a lot of people, and we're starting to go outside more, but it was not time. We're not getting control. We just started the vaccination,
Yeah.
and it's not safe, but in the other hand, we have to. So it's kind of hard to let and say people don't go to the streets because you have a family to raise. So I think it's the biggest challenge in Brazil right now, but it's not safe.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really tough. So you've started this new job, not really safe to be outdoors, working from home. You tell us about the new job, and just in terms of not being able to be outdoors, can you go out and do some exercise? I guess all the pools are closed. You love to swim. Are you able to go out walking or doing some outdoor things from that perspective?
Yeah, actually, our mayor, he allows you go to the gym. Actually, everything is open right now, but in my opinion, it was not supposed to be like that because it's not safe. But it's the thing that I said. We need to get life back and earn some money. But so I can go to the gym. Of course, there are some protocols and there's limited people, uh, and all things like mask all the time, sanitizer all over the place. You have to sanitize everything. You can go to the beach and go for a run, go for a walk. So, and that's it's normal. We're just not putting like movie theaters and things that is a lot of people. And yeah, was that. And for the new job, it's easy for me because I can do home office. I don't need to go to the agents because they understand that it's not the time to get all together to put in the public transportation. So they understand it's very good for us.
And so, in that sense, so you've come from being with an agency that puts on events and obviously has a clearly a marketing element. Tell us, some of the challenges that you've gone through from that perspective of putting on those events, and how maybe in this new role those challenges are transformed into opportunities because everyone's going digital. There's all these virtual events happening. Your clients are not necessarily in the mass participation industry, but some of the things that you're doing that might be relevant to the mass participation industry.
So it was very hard for us because we had a race 1 week before the lockdown, so we had to cancel. And of course, people understood and everything, and we were gonna do again another race, but the 14th was adding a month and 1 month and 1 month. And Pedro, thanks God, didn't fired anyone in the team. So we were all together thinking how are we gonna do it, because our core in the company is ex- uh, experience. So how are we gonna make new experience for the clients and the athletes if we're not together? How you use the digital and everything? So we try to uh, make connections at home, workouts at home, and do some games. We did most of them. And in November, we found a way to do the event. Of course, with limit, and we did all the protocols and less people, less team, less tickets, everything. And it was very successful. Everyone was happy, and the criticals that we had was actually good because we didn't allow anyone to go inside the race, just the athletes. And people were, whoa, I couldn't watch. I went to the beach and I couldn't see. And it was like good for us because that this means that we did our jobs and did only the athletes and didn't put a lot of people, more people than should. And they were
That
very
was the King and Queen of the Sea. That was 2,000 participants, you said.
Yeah, right. It was the
Yeah.
biggest swimming race in the world in 2020
Uh-huh.
and during the COVID.
Wow.
And we were very glad that everything went fine. We had no cases after, and was very hopeful for us that, oh, we'll find a way. And then we did more two events, or one bike for bike and the other volleyball,
Yeah.
but was all very small events. One it was just the volleyball was just for professional players, and the bike was just for 400, so smaller.
Smaller events.
And we are very happy that we could like make this experience for the athletes, because sports is very fundamental for, especially during COVID. We need to move our bodies, and they were missing that. And every, of course, being together, but with attention and protocols.
Right. Wow. Well, congrats on making that happen. And sounds like some great leadership from Pedro in terms of pulling that team together, being able to make those events happen. I always like to talk about leadership. You're a young leader. What are some of the, you've had mentors, any principles around leadership, anyone who's inspired you as a leader to move on, in your career and help you? Maybe Pedro, anyone else?
Yeah, I had many leaders since I was a kid. Uh, but I think the main point here is for a woman to be a leader, it's hard because if we are tough, we are bossy. And if we well, we are crazy. So I need, like, woman needs to have more women in leadership. So I was very happy and fortunate that I had leaders since I was a kid. My mom was a big leader. She worked for the national committee in Brazil, and she had like big teams. And after, when I went to Effect Sports, my first boss was a female one, and she was inspiration. She taught me everything. And principle is all about people. So we have to take care about people. When we have a team, we always take care of the team. We take responsibility for them. We don't yell at them. It's all about relationships. We don't sell product. We don't sell experience. We sell people and relationships, and you have to be honest. So when we do this honest networking, it's not about business. It's about people and how to make people happy. And everything is not just for the product or service. It's one of the things that I learned as a leader. It's always bring the team together. And I work in Brazil for USOC during the Olympics.
Yes.
So they taught me a lot that everyone in the team is important. One thing that uh, we now work together is uh, we're unpacking 6 containers that came from United States, and everyone helped it. Everyone, the director with 80 years old and the volunteer, like bringing matches and bats, but everyone was together. Like we had a point and a focus, and everyone was just helping. And then I learned everyone in the process is important. Doesn't matter if you're a director, if you do the food and you cook or you clean, everyone is important, and everyone needs to be treated as important. You don't need to underrate anyone. So I learned this from USOC. It was in the beginning of my career, so it was very important for me. and then having the leaders. The sports, I always did group sports. So handball, water polo, volleyball. So bringing the team together and the leader was one of the things that sports always taught me.
Wonderful. Wow, that's some great insights. People, people, people. So key.
People.
As always, the time flies along. I'd love to hear something inspirational. You've, I'm sure, inspired people as an athlete. You've seen lots of inspirational stories. Is there a particular story you'd like to share with the viewers before you wrap up?
I don't think a story, but just a speech. You never know who you're inspiring you. So always do your better, because sometimes I do my better and people come for me. Oh, I always looked for you and I love to work out and I post a lot about it. So people, oh, I saw you working out every day and you're my inspiration. And I'm just doing my better as a in professional career also. Like, I always try to do my better, and for my how you say for my intern it's the same. I do my better and you lead by, how do you
Example.
say,
Lead by
example,
example. Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
Wonderful.
that, like. Mhm.
That's great. Thank you, Roberta. Great to catch up, and all the very best in your new career. And hopefully that the new role works out fantastic. I'm sure it will. And you'll go on to inspire and lead other people, putting people first all the way. Really great point there. Thank you so much for making the time. Great to see you.
Thank you, Chris, for the invitation. I love that.
Wonderful. Bye
Mhm.
bye.